Welcome to Collaboration Conversations. Sometimes that little ticking down to start, it takes forever, folks, and I start to laugh. Welcome. We're glad you're here with us today. I am Regina Partain Bergman, CEO of Bridgeport Strategy. This is one of the most fun times of my day, my week, is getting to do this show and meet the amazing people who come on the show. Today is no different. We have a wonderful guest co-host with us today, and then let me just introduce him right away and let's get started. So we have so much to share. So my guest co-host today is Jeff Pearson. He is host of the Invisible Condition show. And I'm going to let him tell you all about that because there's a lot to tell there. But Jeff, welcome. I'm so glad you're here as our co-host today. Thank you for being on the show. And would you share a bit about your journey, who you serve and why?
I will. Thank you for having me here, Regina. This is amazing. I'm so excited to be here with all these cool people. I'm very excited. And it's kind of a crazy journey, but aren't we all have one, right?
Yes.
all our journeys are a little bit crazy, right? It's just a different variety of crazy. So So my journey actually starts when I was 2 weeks old, and I was born with something kind of crazy. It's really common. It's called hydrocephalus. Not a lot of people know what that is. It's freakishly unknown in general society, as common as it is. But hydrocephalus happens when your brain, in my case, one of my ventricles was blocked when I was born, and so your brain has ventricles, your brain is producing fluid, the ventricles drain the fluid down the spinal column, everything's cool. When one of those is blocked, things aren't cool. It requires brain surgery. So my first brain surgery was at 2 weeks old. And it entails drilling a hole in the skull and putting a pump on there and draining it somewhere else in the body, usually to the abdominal cavity. It's just an artificial drain, basically, in simplest terms. But those pumps have a very high failure rate. And so those of us with hydrocephalus are usually destined for brain surgery after brain surgery after brain surgery. It's the average is about every 2 to 3 years. I, in my 47 years on this planet, have escaped with only 7 brain surgeries. And I know I'd say only 7 brain surgeries.
Only 7.
I know. Everybody kind of goes, well,
wow.
One is a little bit. But,
but it could be worse.
It could always be worse. I know somebody half my age that has had in the numbers of triple digits of brain surgeries. So it just depends on your story, honestly. Everybody's individual. So, and 4 of those surgeries have been in the last 10 years. And so they've kind of stacked up, and it just depends on who you are. Everybody's individual. So I got to have 4 in the last 10 years. Some people have had 2 when they were a baby, and 40 years later, they're okay. So it's all very individual. So that's part of the reason we created our nonprofit, which is called Hydro with Hope. And Hydro with Hope aims to help those individuals and families who are affected by hydrocephalus by offering them, counsel from somebody who's been there, done that, bought the t-shirt, got the surgeries, so I love talking to new families. I love to speak about this and let people know that your life is not over just because you've had this, life does not end with brain surgery. It usually it's just the beginning.
Right.
And the other thing is we wrote a journal, and that journal is right here, and it is called My Hydro Warrior Story, and it's about 150 pages, and it's a fill-in-the-blank journal that helps people walk through that crazy experience of, holy smokes, I'm gonna have to have what kind of surgery again? Or my kid's gonna do what now? And walks you through it and covers, a lot of the basics and a lot of the medical record keeping and things, and then it's kind of a built-in medical record that you can take to your doctor's appointments. And you remember everything. You've got it written down. So because when you go to the doctor, they just blast you with questions, and that's the last thing you need, is trying to remember everything. So 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 our nonprofit is very hands-on, very boots on the ground. We want to help people in a very practical way. And that nonprofit kind of led us to our TV show, which is called Invisible Condition. And it is on E360 TV on the Achieve TV. We've been on the air for just over a year. We launched our show last April 4th of 2023. And we bring on people onto the show that are living and yet thriving despite having some sort of invisible condition. I mean,
Right.
there's so many out there. And, everything from common stuff like fibromyalgia and PTSD and bipolar maybe to some really rare things that I had never heard of. And yet they are kicking butt and taking names in spite of living with this condition. And then also organizations from around the country and around the world that are helping those folks live better lives. So it's been
awesome.
Monica's been a guest a couple times because of what she does. We'll have to. We still need to get Aaron on the show, I think, but we'll get there. But right. So so in a nutshell, that's what we're doing. We've been on the air about a year. And we're on twice a week, every Tuesday and Friday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time, yeah, we're just plugging along, man.
Awesome.
So,
awesome.
Yeah.
I appreciate and applaud the work that you're doing. There's such a need, and there's so many people in the world with these invisible conditions. I have a few of those myself, so I can relate.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I have to chuckle though when you said bought the t-shirt or had the t-shirt. I've added some to that expression, Jeff. Would you like to hear what that is?
Bring it on. What do you got?
Had the bonfire. I don't want that stinking t-shirt. I earned it.
Yeah. No kidding. Yeah, let's burn it all. Yeah, that's good. That's
the t-shirt had the bonfire.
That's hilarious.
We've all had a few of those, yeah.
You didn't like the t-shirt anyway. Yeah.
And that t-shirt's threadbare now. There's none of it left.
Yeah.
Just rags. We just use it to clean the bathroom.
There you go.
Right,
There you go.
Exactly.
We don't need the reminder, right?
That's right.
We want those reminders of thriving.
That's right.
That's awesome, Jeff. I love the work that you're doing. And I can't wait to hear about what these two beautiful ladies are doing. So would you please introduce our panelists, have them share a bit about their journey, who they serve, and why?
A little bit of context why we are all here is because out of the TV show, my wife and I saw another need, which is a place for people to gather and hear about some awesome, amazing things that people are doing to help that community again, the invisible condition community. So we have created a retreat, virtual retreat.
Right.
Maybe it'll be in person later this year. I'm going to stress it is virtual retreat called the Resilience Retreat, Finding Strength in Invisible Battles. And it's going to be May 10th and May 11th, 9 to 3 Mountain Time. And so that is why these two amazing people are here, is because Monica and Aaron and Regina, all three of you are going to be taking part in that. And I'm so grateful. And so Aaron, why don't you, I could do an introduction, but I'm not going to do it justice.
It's actually a really fun game when I go to networking stuff. Like if you have somebody else introduce you, oh my gosh, it's so cool to be able to hear their interpretation of who and what and when. And then it's challenging for yourself too. You're like, okay, wait a minute. Can I summarize?
I know there's so much, right? You want to tell everybody everything.
Yeah. So let's see here. So Aaron Anatavi, my company, Sapphire Partners, and we provide executive support, chief of staff for neurodivergent leaders and visionaries and all of the people that are creating incredible things. But the executive function of the day-to-day is just kind of a hard thing, because when you have invisible conditions, you know what you want, you're driven, you have amazing ideas, just some of the most incredible people, right? But in order to achieve those things, they have their email, calendar, scheduling, tasks, all of these things that just weigh down on you. And when those become your barriers, you don't get to where you want to be. You don't get to create the things that you want to create. And that's where I kind of come into that, is like, okay, what are you trying to build, and how can how can somebody help you do that, whether it's a chief of staff or an admin assistant or executive support, whatever that looks like. And then we train through our Sapphire Academy. We also have a training academy for people who want to become a premier executive assistant, people who want to up their game. Maybe they're stuck in admin and they want to be more, or they want to grow that skill set, or they have an executive and they're like, oh, I'm kind of like, I don't know how to help more. So the academy answers all of that stuff. And all of the neurodivergence is such a beautiful thing, but where there is a superpower, there is also kryptonite.
Yes.
Oh, that's true.
So as a company, a lot of our staff are neurodivergent, and a lot of the people, I think we all attract each other, right? I'm like, do neurotypical people actually exist? Like, I don't know, how do I find them? Like, can I see one in the wild? So if you
point it out to me, where's my binoculars?
Yeah, like, where are they? Like, I know they're out there. Like, theoretically, we're the minority, but we're there. So if you love the superpower as a company, with your team or with the clients, or however you're doing that, you love the superpower. Well, you also need to accept and be prepared for the kryptonite, right? There's going to be those days where your person is just like, you know what? I just can't today. I just can't. And if you like it when they go and they drive and they're motivated and fast paced and having an amazing day and just knocking stuff out, that has to be okay too. So, yeah.
I love it. What an awesome service.
It's
That's
pretty cool.
amazing.
I kind of like it.
And very needed. Very needed. Excellent. We will have to talk about that.
And just out of curiosity, could you tell people also what you're going to be doing at our retreat?
Oh my
Because
gosh.
it's
Yes.
so cool.
Oh,
I'm so excited. You said I have to have the last spot in the day.
Yes.
You said I want to have the last spot. I said, what are you talking about?
Yes. So Sapphire, because of my own neurodivergence, I like to create really interesting things. And I have this methodology that I created called the Clarity Matrix, which there's a lot of different matrices out there, but mine's the best. And
Of course it is.
It's a given.
Of course it is.
Yep. And it's a 4 facet because of Sapphire branding. So you have the facets. Facet 1 is your brilliance, working in your brilliance, which is I am proficient and this brings me joy. And then you have facet 2, which is shiny objects, and practicing, and this brings me joy. And you have monotone, which is I am proficient and this is boring, or I hate it. And then you have shattered, I am practicing and this drains me, or I also hate it. And when you take this matrix and you apply it to your personal world, your business world, your strategic planning, whatever it is that you're doing, it provides a level of clarity that takes goal strategy to a whole other level. And then I've got a couple of different things that I attach to that, in addition to around energy and recovery. And there's just it's a pretty in-depth thing. So for the folks who are attending the retreat, everybody is going to learn amazing things. Like Regina, you are going to teach incredible things. Monica, you are going to teach incredible things. And all of these people are going to come out with things that they want to do. They're going to be motivated. They're going to be amped. They're going to be like, yes, like this is exactly what I needed. But then what happens when the event ends? and the neurodivergent kicks in, and the invisible conditions kick in, and life kicks in, and all of the things.
Yeah.
And a week later, you're like, oh man, boy, I really wanted to do something with that. And I can't. So when I was like, put me last, because you guys we're going to go through this retreat. We're going to have all of these incredible humans. What the clarity matrix is going to do is it is going to solidify what that person wants to achieve. It is going to give them the actionable steps in their brilliance, right? So that they know exactly what they can do. And when you have that map that's written, not somebody writing it for you, they are going to create this for themselves based on the content that they found most empowering through the retreat, so that a week later they have that document. They're like, oh yeah, right, I'm going to do that. So that was kind of
Fantastic.
Awesome.
Yes.
Love that.
So next. Sorry. I wasn't sure if you were going to say something or if I needed to, Regina.
I'm making so at the awkward, like pushed out.
Awkward silence over. Okay.
Go for it, Jeff.
I could have just jumped in. I mean, I shouldn't have waited for either one. I just go.
A little awkward silence. Okay, Monica. All right. You have been on our show twice, and I absolutely love what we talked about. And your business has kind of morphed and changed a little bit over the last year or so. So I kind of know sort of what you're doing, but go.
Okay.
Go for it.
Will do. Okay, so my story starts with me sitting in a general surgeon's office. And it was the 5th doctor that I had seen for a blinding pain I had in my lower right abdomen. And we knew it wasn't appendicitis because I went to the first doctor who took it at the ER and took an x-ray and figured out that's not what it was. So it's something else. So over the period of about 5 months, I ended up in 5 odd doctor's offices. I had 2 CAT scans, an MRI, an ultrasound, an x-ray, a blood test, an experimental shot, and every kind of other blood test sample, urine sample that you could possibly give, I gave. And nobody could tell me what was wrong. So the last place to go was this general surgeon's office I had been referred to. And I sat there on my chair, looking into his eyes anxiously. What are you going to tell me? Do you have answers for me? And he was looking across the desk at his computer screen with a perplexed look on his face at all the tests that I had given. And he looks up at me and he says, I don't know what's wrong with you. I have no idea, but I can offer you exploratory surgery and maybe we'll find out. And I went, okay, thank you, but no. And, I sat there and it was funny because on the outside, I was, I can hold it together, but on the inside, that is the moment that I discovered that health is not parceled out into different sections. It's not mental health, physical health, and spiritual health. It's everything. And it's all connected. And I discovered this because in that moment, it was my physical health that had been the problem, but my mental health took a dive. My mental health went in the toilet. And I was scared and wondering to myself and questioning, what is wrong with me? What's happening? Have I done something to myself? Am I still doing it? Am I doing it now? Will I do it again tomorrow? How can I ever stop this? If they can't help me, who can? And not only that, but I believe in God. I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. And my immediate spiritual questions were, God, where are you? Why are you not helping me? Why have you ignored my prayers for the last 5 months? Why are you leaving me to just be in pain like this? What is happening here? And I realized that's when it all kind of came together. And I went, this is not just physical. This is everything else. And if I'm going to solve this and deal with this, it's going to have to be on all 3 planes. I can't just figure out what's wrong with me and let it all go. We have some other issues going on here and they all need to be dealt with. So at that point, now I've been in the health and wellness industry for by now about 15 years. At the time, probably about, 11, 12 maybe. And I knew enough that I knew I could study and I could research and I could do some digging. So I started digging and doing some research because I didn't know where else to go. I was getting answers nowhere. So I started digging in, looking into some research. Long story short, I did a lot of of work around fascia, which is the connective tissue in the body. And that is, when it's healthy, it's smooth and pliable. But when it gets unhealthy due to improper posture or a lot of other things that can happen, surgeries, injuries, things along that line. Hello. Yeah, poor Jeff is up there going 7, 7. It's like that can really do a number on your body. Well, I have had 3 C-sections, and I was like, wow. So I, after about 2 weeks of experimental work with fascia, I studied a lot of different people that work with fascia. I studied probably 5 or 6 pretty well known in the fascia world gurus of fascia, and I sort of combined some techniques and came up with my own. And when I did that, it worked quickly, and I was so excited, and I thought, wow, that is awesome. And I started looking into the other things that were involved with what makes someone's fascia healthy, unhealthy. And one of them, of course, was posture. One of them was deep breathing. There were a lot of other things involved. And as I began to do those things, I sort of started gathering in some other components and ended up creating out of nowhere this program that I now call the Still Connection. And it's got 7 components to it. There's deep breathing, there's postural alignment and fascia release, which we've already talked about. There's strength training, which is actually has turned into one of the most effective ways to relieve chronic anxiety, shockingly, but it has. Strength training, stretching, cognitive training, which was a total shock to me. I had no idea that cognitive training was going to be a part of this, but it has been. We've had some serious limbic system rewiring going on, which has been fascinating. And scripture meditation. We're meditating on the Bible. So those combined have created this program that has done amazing things for people that are dealing with chronic pain and chronic anxiety, which are both invisible conditions. So when Jeff and I met, we met in a Facebook group of podcasters. I was in there to be a guest, and he was in there to find guests. And we met, and we've now met in person a few times. I love his wife. We have had so much fun getting together and doing things. And I've loved being on the show a couple of times. And I'm so excited about the retreat because I'm going to get to talk about fascia and its impact on invisible conditions, which is remarkably big and something that most people don't consider. We're immediately thinking of medical issues, but when we deal with the fascial system and get that healthy, many of those things, including fibromyalgia and PTSD and some of the other things, can be relieved simply by doing that. And so I'm always about starting at the foundation of health, starting at the baseline to create this rock solid baseline foundation of health, so that then when there is an issue, it's going to be less of an issue than it would be if you were starting at a really unhealthy place in your life. So we start at the bottom, we start at the base, and then we build a holistic health toolbox that allows people to have other tools to turn to rather than have to run to a doctor or medication for the first line of defense. Because in my experience, that didn't help. So I was so excited to start somewhere else and to help other people learn to start somewhere else. So that's what I do. And I'm so excited to be part of the retreat.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I can't wait to learn more from
Oh,
both of you, from all 3 of you.
I'm excited. I am excited.
Yeah, I can relate to everything, that you've each gone through, haven't experienced the things that you have, but have dealt with an invisible condition since I was a teenager that wasn't diagnosed until 2016.
Oh.
And so, I was a teenager many moons ago. So lived
Weren't
with
we
it.
all?
Lived with it for 50 years without a diagnosis for 50 years.
Oh my goodness.
So, and various pain cycles that I've gone through. 7 is a magical number in my life. It's like 7 years of this thing and then 7 years of that thing. Anyway, let's dive in here. So, Jeff.
Yes.
In terms of collaboration, let's talk about how you went about starting this event, where that idea kind of, finally came from as you were working in this field, and how you decided who to collaborate with on it.
Well,
and
yeah,
ladies, feel free to jump into the conversation. Okay.
Mhm,
yeah,
definitely.
definitely. So we started with one concept, and we thought, okay, because based on the show, really. I mean, it was based on the show, Invisible Condition, and we had met so many amazing people doing this show, and we're like, okay, we gotta do this in a different avenue somehow to to get this out to the people, to the people that
Right.
need it.
Right.
There are so many people that are, I mean, I don't know who out there is like Tony Robbins, fan or whatever, right? That whole crowd, the whole.
Yeah.
I love that stuff, but it's all about challenges and 5-day challenge and 3-day challenge, and okay, let's just cut that right now, because people with invisible conditions,
Yeah.
we have enough of those every day. Okay,
Yeah.
we don't need something. We don't need another challenge. Okay,
Right.
and I understand
True.
it's a different kind of challenge. I get it. It's just, but I thought that was our mindset. We're like, oh my gosh, let's not talk about more challenges. Okay,
Yeah.
let's give people a retreat, a reprieve, a
I like that.
retreat from what they're going through, from what they, give it
I like
for a
that.
day, for a day. I mean, it's like for a couple hours one evening, and then the whole day the next day. Let's just
Right.
take a breath, man. Take a breath and soak up what all these amazing people are going to show you and teach you and help you learn, and leave you with all this amazing knowledge that'll hopefully help you in your life. Whether you have an invisible condition or not, honestly, but really, especially that crowd. So we started seeking. We're like, okay, so we started making the list of, okay, who could we, and of course there were some really obvious choices. I mean, we'd had Monica on twice already. We're like, well, that's kind of a no-brainer. We really want her to come and talk about the Still Connection. And then some of the folks that aren't here, obviously they've all been guests on the show. That's where all this
Okay.
came from, which is why I'm so excited that we've been able to. You never know what something's gonna. Okay, we're gonna do this show. But what I didn't predict was having this giant list of all these amazing people that I now know that are doing all these cool things, that I was like, oh, well, let's get that out too. So it's like, you never know when that next opportunity to share is going to be. And this just happened to be it. So
But rivers of relationships, like that is
Right?
one of my most favorite things with networking and meeting people is when I get to trace this, and you go all the way back and you're like, oh my gosh, if I didn't do that one thing, then all of this stuff wouldn't have happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the
There
dark
was-
side of that, it's a little bit of FOMO, because like somebody invites me to go do something and I'm like, but what's going to happen in 6 months as a result of all of these things if I don't go?
Oh yeah.
I mean, as an example of that, I mean, there was a show that it just aired. What's today? Is today Friday?
Today's
Today's
Wednesday.
Today Wednesday? Okay, I don't know. Okay, I don't know. The days all kind of run together after a
They
while.
do. They do. Oh.
Okay, recently, I'll just say recently, because obviously my sense of time is gone. Sometime in the last few days, we had a show with 2 doctors from an amazing place in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, that literally, talking about connections and tracing all those back. This was like a year and a half in the making. Like, we met this family randomly. They happened to, nothing's by chance, by the way. I'm just going to get that out of
There's
the way
no
right
circumstances. Yeah.
now. Nothing is
Of
by
course not.
chance.
No.
But this person, this mom, found me on social media, because I was commenting on all these other groups, and she's like, well, he sounds really nice. He sounds like he kind of knows what he's talking about with this hydrocephalus thing. Let me reach out to him. And so they did, and it turns out they had a baby that was like born like way premature, like 26 weeks, like way premature.
Wow.
Has hydrocephalus, was going to have brain surgery, but they couldn't even do anything until the baby was older, so they were in ICU for a while. Anyway, so I'm talking her through all this, because the doctors are telling her one thing, and I'm like, okay, but really, let's talk her off the ledge, and really that developed into this amazing friendship, and we still keep in touch with her. She's from the United Arab Emirates. She's halfway around the world. I never would have saw that coming.
Yeah.
And then she said, the doctors at this place in DFW was like, well, maybe we could help you. So she's like, okay. And she jumped, literally like spur of the moment decision, jumped on a plane with her and her little 1-year-old, 6-month-old or whatever, and came to Texas. And so we got to talk on Zoom, and then I got to meet, kind of talk to some of the people at this clinic. And I was like, oh my gosh, we should have them on the show, because they did such an amazing job with Goretti was the mom's name, and David is the little boy's name, and Dad didn't come this trip, I guess. I don't know, he was working or something. But anyway, I would have loved to meet, talk to all of them. But anyway, all of this to say, that's how that show came together. I never would have even known that place existed unless I had been commenting on these posts or whatever, like a year and a half ago. It's so crazy how things line up, and you look back and go, wow, where did that come from?
Yeah.
So it's just so cool.
It sounds like the show itself has created an amazing number of resources and relationships.
Oh man. Yeah, looking at this, like every time I look at the spreadsheet, like I'm going to plan another, like here's your show date, when I talk to somebody that's going to be a guest, and I look through that list, and it just almost brings tears to my eyes, because all these people, it's like every show I feel like, man, that was my favorite show. It's so cool.
That's how it should be.
Yeah, it's so cool. Unintended resource that has never stopped giving to me, and because that's a resource I like when I do a Zoom call with somebody. I'm like, oh my gosh, you need to talk to this person. Let me get their number, and I'm looking at the spreadsheet, so it's been so cool.
It's similar with executive support, because of the brilliance of people and the things that they're creating. And I want them to succeed. I want whatever it is that they're making to become what they see in their minds. Right. I want it to be everything. And if they are just a little bit more successful, then I'm like, okay, there's the impact. Like there's the things, I may never have a PhD. Certainly won't have multiple. And so if I have,
it's overrated.
There you go.
If they have that, or they're creating, or they're building it, it's the connections. Like, oh, hey, I know this person. Oh, I can make an introduction to them. Oh, have you met? And driving all of that, because it is relationships. That's where it's all at.
Yeah, for sure.
And folks, I was saying it's overrated tongue in cheek to some degree. I know there's great value in them, but I also know that there's great opportunity to do good in the world and to be successful without it. So,
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Yes.
Monica, go ahead, Jeff. What were you going to say?
Nope. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, Monica, how has collaboration impacted the work that you're doing? What you're achieving? How has that worked in your world?
Several different ways, actually. I mean, one of the big things that I love to do lately is trade with people. So I will just trade my services for theirs. I love doing that. I have someone right now who's a photographer, and her daughter is a swimmer, a young girl. She's probably about 10. I think she's about 10 or 11, 9, 10, somewhere in there. And she needed some help strengthening some things and dealing with anxiety over her swim meets and things along that line. And so I used to be a teacher. I taught kids. I mean, I'm great with kids. And so they came to me and said, hey, can you help her? I'm like, yes, I can. And so we started just trading. She's doing photography and video for me, and I'm helping her daughter. And her husband actually just came down with chronic kidney disease. And he just got diagnosed with that. And I said, oh, I got this. I can help you. Let's start here. And so we're on video. I'm telling them, here's 5 things I know you're not doing. Do these 5 things. I promise you, it's going to change. And, so I'm so excited to be able to do things like that. That's sort of my world of being able to collaborate with people. The other side of that coin is finding other people in the health and professional care world like that want to do the kinds of things that I like to do, in terms like with Jeff, where I'm on his show, or we're doing a retreat with people, where there's people that want to get together. So I have a friend who is very big. She works for a CBD company, and she's very knowledgeable in plant health and using plants for health. And so that's a little outside of my realm, but we're both along the same lines and we're like-minded about what we do. So we like to get together and do a show or a podcast, or just kind of have a conversation in video and then put it on both of our platforms or something like that. That type of idea I love doing with people, because it brings my audience to them and it brings their audience to me, and it brings both messages farther. And I think that's fabulous. And I love that kind of opportunity. Yeah. That's kind of where I've been going lately with this.
I want to bounce off of what you just said, Martha, with the, yeah, if it's okay.
Absolutely. Go, girl. Bring it. Let's go.
With health and wellness, it's in the executive world, it's really interesting how people create a divide there. Like sometimes you'll have executives who are very focused on that, right? Their well-being and mindfulness and all those things are important. And then you have the other side who is just very tactical, and it's just like, no, I just want to get it done. I just want to make things happen. And with the way that I've put Sapphire together and the way that we run the company is we try to bring those two together with the health and the wellness and your tactical side, because it's really hard to pull those two apart. And through the clarity matrix, energy and the management of your energy is something that I don't think a lot of people ask, right? Is happiness, joy, your recovery, because everything that you do requires some kind of energy, mental, emotional, physical, or like spiritual or ethical energy. And when you tie the different kinds of energy to the activities that you perform in a day, we're actually creating a predictive energy matrix where, using calendar and time management, we can look ahead and say, oh, if you typically have migraines, right? Can we trace your migraines to energy use? Can we trace that to stress levels? And if you pinpoint, maybe having 5 sales meetings in one day creates, is an intensity level 3 on your mental energy. And we have this algorithm that we're creating. Then we know that you need a very specific kind of recovery for mental energy after you engage in those sales meetings. Otherwise, your potential risk of health issues, migraines or stress or anxiety or all of those things, amplifies. And if you put together this predictive matrix, what this is going to do for leadership and teams and collaboration and executive is going to create a level of self-awareness. I cannot wait to have all of this put together. Like, guys, I'm so excited. But you have to blend the two. You have to. You can't exist inside of a tactical framework only without paying attention to your health, nor can you exist inside of a mindfulness framework without paying attention to your livelihood and the things that you're doing. You have to put them together. No.
So where we're talking about collaboration, we've been talking about collaboration externally. You're talking about internal collaboration, collaborating with ourselves.
Yes, within yourself and having
within
that.
Yourself.
Yes, and then if you are running teams, or you're managing teams, or you're working with even just colleagues, right? If you are recognizing, same with that superpower kryptonite, if you have a colleague who is burned out on mental or emotional energy, you know that they may not be able to show up in the way that you expect them to show up. And when you have that awareness, it creates empowerment, empathy, connection, support, all of these things that I think are really sadly missing from workplaces. And then we get so focused on the tactical side. The other question that no one's asking is, are you happy?
Yeah.
Does this bring you joy? Are you happy? Because we have our resumes, we have our skills. We're like, oh, we know how to do these and these and these. I'm like, okay, cool. That's great that you know how to do those. Do they bring you joy?
Yeah.
Because where you have happiness and proficiency, and you have self-awareness and mindfulness and connection and relationships. One of a quote that cornerstone for Sapphire is, build a life you don't need a vacation from.
Yeah, there you go. I like that.
If you get to Friday, you're just like, oh my God, I need a vacation. Like, why? What's happening?
Yeah, exactly. And the truth of it is, Erin, many CEOs and leaders would see this as fluff stuff, maybe some other term, when really there's a bottom line impact.
Oh, it's huge.
Huge bottom line impact.
How about the ROI for turnover?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, that's a
foundational. It's foundational.
Yeah. It is.
It's foundational.
Absolutely.
You will have it's foundational. You've got to start at the foundation. When you start at the foundation, then you have less problems to deal with up the chain. Yes. Always.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, and one thing I've been learning more and more about over the last few weeks and last couple 3 or 4 months is, if you find something that, people always talk about work-life balance. Got to have the right work-life balance. But that's, if you love what you do, then it's integrated into everything you do, and there is no balance because it's all together, and that's okay. That's good. That's a good thing. If you love what you're doing for a living, and it's part of you, and it's something you love, then it should be part of every other part of your life. And then, the work-life balance.
Not turning off this part to go do that part. They blend.
Yeah, exactly. You're not turning anything off or turning anything. Yeah, you're just going. You're doing life, and if you're, whether that's taking your kids on a business trip that you go on, or doing, work while you're, whatever it is. It's just, if you love what you're doing, it's all integrated anyway.
The recovery part is also so key there, because even if you love what you're doing, you're still burning energy in the clarity matrix. When you're in your brilliance, you're still burning energy. Whereas if you were in the shattered or brilliance, right? I'm proficient and this brings me joy. If you're in shattered, where I'm practicing and this drains me, the same activity for different people can be in both of those facets, right? But if it's an intensity level 1 on your mental energy in brilliance, for the other person it could be an intensity level 5 in emotional energy and shattered. And when you're working with other people, right, it's not necessarily the activity itself, it's the way that you recover from that. Going to the gym, weightlifting, all of these things, right? One of my favorite images is, if you go to the gym and you work out for 12 hours, at the end of that 12 hours and you're lifting weights and you're like, if I can just do one more, I'm going to be stronger. No, you're going to put yourself in the hospital. Don't do that. Right? Regulate, slow, a little bit here, a little bit there, but it's the recovery where you build your strength. Yeah. And I think a lot of people flip that mindset and they're like, no, it's the strength. I'm pushing, I'm going to get stronger. You have to pull back. You have to recover in order to get stronger, even if it's in your brilliance. It just means that maybe you need a different kind of recovery, because if you have say quiet time is a mental recovery and meeting with friends is an emotional recovery. If you are burned out on your mental energy, it could be meeting with friends. You get a little bit of recovery there, but you're not going to get the full benefit.
Yeah.
You have to pair your recovery technique with the energy that you're using in order to get that maximum benefit. And all of that plays into health, right? All of it. Because then you have your diet, and fascia. I love Monica with the fascia stuff, because like that, my mom is a neuromuscular massage therapist. And it's so fun to say, like, so
yes, absolutely.
And that's big, right? There is a lot of that, and movement and stretching and all of the, you have to.
And it's so funny that you talked about that, because I didn't even tell you why I call my business the Still Connection. It's connecting mental, physical, and spiritual health in stillness with God. It's based on Psalm 46:10, which is be still and know that I am God. So there's the idea in our world that there is so much information coming and so much, I don't even know the word, chaos going on around us. And we allow so much into our hearts and our souls and our minds that we don't even know how to be still anymore. That's difficult to do. And so a big part of what we do in our program is we learn how to be still again. And the things that we do in stillness and mostly quiet, very quiet. And it is remarkable, the results that people are finding from that. And that's exactly what you were talking about, Erin. It's that recovery time of all the things that we have going on in our world, not just from social media or the news or whatever else we're allowing in, but physically as well. The junk light that we have, the all the electrons that are coming to us, it's crazy what's happening to our bodies and our hearts and our souls and our minds. So having that time to recover, and in our world in stillness, is invaluable. So yeah, I love that. On the same page, sister, on the same page.
You're not going to believe this, folks, but we're out of time.
What?
No.
It goes so fast.
How did that happen?
Every time.
We are going to move into our wrap-up round. And so, Jeff, you're going to run the wrap-up round for us, to call on each person, including yourself, to give their final thoughts on collaboration and their contact information. And while you're all doing that, I'll put your contact information into the comments area. And it looks like we've had a comment from somebody. Oh, I don't.
No, I was.
Oh, you did that. Okay.
I was just writing notes down. No worries.
Well, somebody else put a comment in.
Oh, there, yeah.
Oh, funny. And that's the person's name, is funny. And then they said hi. So if somebody here knows that person, they're saying hi.
That's awesome.
Hello there. Okay, so
right,
what do we? Say it again. Tell me again. What are we doing?
So each person will share their final thoughts about collaboration and their contact information. And so you'll run that round, okay?
All right. Collaboration. I love collaboration. I've never been so excited about it as I have become in the last year, being part of a couple different business organizations, and collaboration has just been huge. And that is the reason that I am where I am, is because of collaboration. And so I'm so excited that Regina, that you and I collaborated, and Erin and Monica and Lucinda and Leland and Stephanie, who are three people that that you will also meet at the retreat, that all came from collaboration, all of it.
Awesome.
And the TV show has become quite the collaboration tool.
And your contact information also, Jeff.
Contact information. The best way to reach out is, if you have questions about Hydro with Hope, you can go to hydrowithhope.com, or you can email me at jeff@hydrowithhope.com, and that's HYDRO, hydrowithhope.com. Or if you want to know more about the TV show, know anybody that might be a good guest, or that might want to get the word out about their business through advertising on the show, Invisible Condition at E360, E360TV.com.
Awesome. And then if you will direct the rest of the round.
Yes. Go ahead, Erin.
All right. So collaboration is brilliance. When you are in your brilliance, you are happy. You are building a life you don't need a vacation from. And if everybody around you is doing the same thing, then just imagine what becomes possible. If we're all happy and doing the things that we love and the things that we're really good at. You don't have to do it all. You just don't have to. Pair with other people and draw from the mutual strength, especially in neurodiversity and invisible conditions and all of that, because you need that, right? You have very specific skill sets, and a lot of us just beat ourselves up because we can't do the simple things. Oh, what is wrong with me? I can't do this thing that other people do so easily. And and reshifting, right? Reframe that mindset into, yes, I'm going to be in my brilliance. I want to do the things that I love and things I'm good at. And that requires collaboration. So Erin, let's see here. Best way to get me, email info@choose Sapphire, CHOOSE, and then Sapphire, just like the gemstone. .com, and our website is choosesapphire.com. And let's see here, we're on all of the social media platforms. Pick eeny, meeny, miny, mo, whichever one your favorite one. Get out on all of them. LinkedIn's where my most familiar playground. And I'm on there is Erin Anatavi, ANITAVI. Yeah, it's a fun fact. I actually made up my last name. It's a combination of mom and dad's names. So Erin Anatavi, and then I think that was the
That's
thing.
it. Thank you so much.
That's it. All right, go for it, Monica.
Okay, so collaboration, my goodness, a couple things I'd love to say. That there's a good saying that says 2 heads are better than one, always true. There's a Bible verse that says a cord of 3 strands is not easily broken. Yeah. That is true. And I'm taking a page from Erin here, which I'm inspired by our collaboration here, that to collaborate with your body, connect the mental, physical, and spiritual health. And that will give you exponential results. So love that.
Agreed.
Okay, Erin, love that. Love it. So you can find me, Monica, at thestillconnection.com. You can email me there. Our website is thestillconnection.com. We have a wonderful Facebook group for our women called The Still Sisters. And we are on Facebook and Instagram at The Still Connection.
Love it. Thank you. Thank you all for being here. Jeff, if someone wants to join the retreat, can you tell us how they join? What do they do?
Yes, we might need to. I will get you the link. I did not.
Okay. No worries.
I can't believe I didn't get that to you. That was the one thing I forgot to get to you ahead of time.
Well, actually,
had one job.
Hang on here.
You might have it.
I may have it. So hang on here. Let's see if I can get to it quickly.
That's right. I've sent.
Yes, you've sent me some things. So let's see here. Do you want to join the Facebook group or?
So the Facebook group will
retreat info here.
There you go.
All right. Open the link in a new tab. Grab that. Awesome. I've got it, folks.
Beautiful.
Give me 2 seconds to get it out there.
Technology
out there.
Yeah. So
and share,
there you go,
share, everybody. Share, share everywhere.
Please. This is such a good cause and such so much. So many people need what you're doing, and so I'm thrilled that you're able to do this. Awesome. Thank you, folks, for joining us. We'll see you next time on Collaboration Conversations. Thank you, Jeff, Erin, and Monica for being here today. Bye for now.